Hello, everybody. I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice. And today I have two very special guests. I have Sister Loose Clarita and Sister Electra Complex. They are both members of the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Very special organization to me. I love the work that they are all doing, but let me briefly describe what the sisters do in case you are unfamiliar with them. They are a worldwide order of forward-thinking nuns. They are not religious, but moral and ethical by nature. That's very important. They exist to promulgate universal joy, abolish systematic guilt and hate through public manifestation and habitual perpetration. As a 501c3, they fund in a grassroots manner for the underprivileged. I stress the underprivileged. They help everyone. They are all volunteers without discrimination to creed, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or any labels. And they congregate and serve the communities that they live in. Where there is one nun, all of us are. So thank you so much, Clarita, Electra Complex. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, definitely.
And the sisters were started in 1979. So this is not a new organization. This has been around for a long time. Could you talk about why the sisters were started?
Yeah. Oh, Luce, do you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay, good. So yeah, I think the sisters were started in 1979 in San Francisco. Mostly it was a bunch of folks wanting to go out, to go hang out at a night. And they got together. They wore sister nun habits, sort of traditional uniforms, and went out. And that was around the time that there was a really high demand and need for a strong LGBTQ community, especially surrounding the experiences and events of HIV and AIDS at that time.
Oh, absolutely. And Sister Loose Clarita, did you want to add more about what the sisters do? Because I want to give you an opportunity to talk as well.
Sure. So I think because we're a very diverse group, we're always evolving. And that evolution depends on the members that come into the organization. And also, with the places that we work in, each individual city works with the issues that they have in that city. So it's something that constantly evolves, it's constantly changing. We adapt to the needs that our community has. In obviously 80s and 90s, it was so important and essential to have this work surrounding HIV and AIDS because it was an epidemic that devastated our community. We lost a lot of very important people that were doing social justice, as long as just members of the community that is important. So as that passed, we find different ways to support the needs of our community. In the LA House, we not only do events for things that continue surrounding HIV and AIDS, but we also do it around MS, cancer. We do it for all sentient beings. We have events that work with shelters of animals. And all of these, the work that we do is completely dependent of the membership that we have. Each of us is a guide with one another and take us to different places to do the things that are needed in our community.
And that the community aspect is extremely important. I mean, it's a worldwide organization, but to have the sisters within each community focus on the community's needs. And just to name a few things, I mean, just looking at your websites, mental health, suicide prevention, psychiatric emergencies. These are all open to anyone who needs help. Everyone is accepted. You guys are all inclusive. And I don't understand why. I mean, first of all, with anyone saying that they don't like the sisters or they work against the sisters makes no sense to me personally, because all you guys do is offer help and care.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a really good point. It's been a little confusing for me lately as well, some of the pushback that we've been receiving. But you're absolutely right. I think one of the important things that we've done recently, just thinking about some of the events and areas of concern that Sister Luce was highlighting, would be at Dragcon. So for example, at Dragcon, we were just there, I guess it was maybe a month and a half ago, and that was exactly what we did, is we partnered up with a mental health nonprofit and had what I think is the first booth at Dragcon that dealt specifically with LGBTQ mental health. Did have the sisters, of course, there, and we were really highlighting indigenous practices and two-spirit storytelling. So we definitely create events and work with other groups so that we can, establish a network of community. And of course, as you're saying, all kinds of different outputs, like what that looks like and who those communities benefit. And yeah, it was really amazing, to be able to do something like that at Dragcon. It felt really meaningful to me, at least, to be able to offer mental health services to folks who perhaps maybe wouldn't know where to find them, didn't know how to ask for them, things like that. And then to be so diverse that we were working, with an indigenous and Latina two-spirit CEO, for
Oh,
that
wow.
event. So it was great. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's one of our, we mentioned it on our webpage, but it's Wombat Mental Health. So I mean, that's just one of many different groups, that we're really able to work with, that kind of show that sort of diversity. So we are really always trying to hit really hard folks who are in need. And I think right now, something that's really been important, I think, to both Loose Clarita and myself, are homeless LGBTQ folks, any kind
yes.
of housing insecure issues, as well as food banks, just things people need to survive on the daily.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because some families do not respond well if their child says, I am homosexual, I'm bi, whatever. They respond poorly, and that's not okay. That should be welcomed with love and respect and understanding. But homelessness does happen quite frequently, unfortunately. My own family, my uncle was gay, my grandparents handled it poorly. And there was a lot of secrets and a lot of hiding. I grew up with the coolest uncle in the world who was awesome and had really awesome friends. So fortunately, my parents were awesome. But the homelessness is a big issue. And I think it's, is it Cyndi Lauper who has housing or
Yeah, in New
yeah,
York. Yeah, I think it's in New York, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I
yeah.
was so impressed hearing about that, that she had created something like that, because, yeah, the largest population of homeless youth are LGBTQ. I mean, it's very clear in the statistics that show that. And so these are the folks who, need some of the supports that we're able to provide, and more than likely provide with the help of other organizations. So we're
Yeah.
actually always on the lookout. In fact, that's our homework for the month, from our last meeting, is for all of the sisters to continue to find places, opportunities, other nonprofits, other groups that we're able to support, that maybe don't have the kind of financial support that large grant making or grant writing allows for. And so that actually has been really exciting. I mean, I'm in a constant text message conversation with Loose Clarita and a couple of other sisters, and it's actually really exciting for us to be able to identify and find new organizations that we can help. Yeah.
And Sister Loose Clarita, if you wanted to add, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I mean, also part of the importance of helping with homelessness is because homelessness brings with it a whole set of problems that permeate through society and make us vulnerable as a civic group, right? So it's not just not having a house, it's to being able to withstand living in the streets. Is difficult to do it in your full senses, and you're exposed and in danger to
Yeah.
be involved with drugs and sex work. And because we have a epidemic of fentanyl right now, a lot of the people that will fall into homelessness will die. So our transgender people and our queer people are the most vulnerable because, also this is like a good way to refer as like put a contrast or put it together with the sisters. If you look different than, you're going to be already ostracized, right? So
Yes.
like that's something that we as sisters experience because we're sort of clowns, sort of drag queens that look like a Christian nun, but none of what we use happens to be, or there isn't an intention to look like a Christian nun.
Yes.
If you're a non-passing transgender person, it's going to be harder for you to find a job, to find support, to being able to stay and support yourself. And let's say that you make it after 25, most programs finish at 25 years old. Then what do you do? What do you do when you're 25 and 1 month and you've been out in the streets since you're 16 and your capacity is to, or your opportunities to get an education or to survive or to continue being a member of society that is contributing continually decreasing. So even though not a lot of people make it through homelessness, it's very small the ratio, and this is very alarming. Also, the people that do find themselves with nothing to survive for the next decade or so. The majority of our trans individuals don't make it past 40, and that's really sad.
That is. And you're both so right with respect to homelessness and then being on the streets, not having proper. I didn't know about the 25-year age limit. I did not know about that.
Yeah,
And
that's actually, and I think that was really important
yeah.
that we pointed that out because if you look at, for example, shelters or other programs, that's exactly it. They go to 25, and then the next age limit would be 55, right? So you're basically considered to kind of like take care of yourself as an adult between those, age brackets. And so it's only recently that they are allowing things called TAY, transition age youth programs, which are going to 30 years old. But again, now we still have this bracket, right, between 30 and 55. And it is the case that some 55 and up programs are now, starting at 50 and up. But there is an age bracket difference where you're expected to not have that stigma of houselessness, right, in order to be able to access employment opportunities. And so I think, like Sister Loose was saying, it's a real domino effect.
That's
one on top of each other.
That is a perfect analogy as a domino effect, because if you don't have a support system as a kid and you lose your home and you're on the streets and you don't have a support system at 25, it's a losing battle. And, it's not right, which is the services you guys offer. So real quick, could you explain what you do? Is a lot of work. This isn't just showing up in makeup and going to events and getting people to join. You guys actually have a process of what you have to. Could you explain the entire process of what it takes to become a sister?
Sure. I mean, there is different steps we have, but the first and most important is someone has to have the will and the intention to join the house. We do not recruit. We don't try to make people come to us and work with us as a sister, because it has to be from your own free will, because it's difficult, because it's challenging. You have to devote your time and your energy and resources. Like everything we do, our makeup, our outfits, our meals, our traveling, even, sometimes we put together events and we're missing things that we don't have the funds to do it. So we bring it out of our own pocket. Because we believe that the money that we raise, as it comes into us, it goes back to the community, to different organizations or programs. So we are funding, we're not only raising money for other charities, we are funding our houses ourselves and our programs and whatever it is that we're doing. So that already means that you need to have a slightly better security on yourself so that you can help someone else. And if you're unable, if you're lacking food, if it's difficult for you to, survive the month to month, then we can expect someone to come and use their own money to take it away from their own needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, no, it's really a privilege, though. You know what I mean? It's really a privilege that we have to do this kind of work, and I think it's a calling, right? Like it's a kind of life. I mean, to me, it's a lifelong calling. So once I became a sister, I mean, that's it. Like here I am, And so it's something that I think I have felt very deeply, inside of me. And I think one of the joys that Luce was pointing out is that you do end up finding out more about yourself through these different, aspects of being a sister, from aspirant to black veil.
Yeah, there are levels. Like you have to go through training levels before you're allowed to become a sister.
Yeah, they're not. It's kind of a training, but it's not like we have some check marks that need to happen, but it's not necessarily the same for everybody. So what we call it is we have a period of aspirancy when you're an aspirant trying to join the house. And at that state, we just ask for you to come to events and see how we operate and present yourself however you want to present yourself to the world in your own means without mimicking any of what we do, but who you are. And then we're trying to see if there is a match in the way that we interact with the public, that we have the same intentions, the same respect, and learning how we also are mirrors. We sometimes become that container and regulating when you're at a place where someone has a problem, trying to figure out how they're going to proceed with life and they have no one to talk to, and then you become that recipient. And your work for those next 30 minutes becomes the therapist that is going to solve one question and lead that person to the next. So there's a period of observance. Then we have apostolancy, which is a period where you start interacting and looking more like the sisters, because it's also difficult, if you're a volunteer and now you are giving all of this attention to you, how do you navigate with the attention and with people expecting you to have answers?
Oh, that's got to be hard.
So as we say, like the training is not like you need to do 2 courses in DEI and you need to do, it's just a process that we guide one another as working together. After you finish just your postulancy, then you become a novice, and this is in the period where you look more like exactly like another sister looks like. Now you're able to wear your full white makeup. You wear your head crown or your coronet from the house that you are in. This is the LA house coronet. The San Francisco house is like earbuds. Then the Reno house has like horns, like a Reno. Every house decides how they do that. But as a novice, you're able to look like any of the other sisters. No one is going to know the difference. And then we just ask that you show us that you're able to put together the other sisters to work, that you can make an event where you wrangle your sisters, you use their talents, and when you're able to do that, then you're able to do the work on your own. And this can take between a year. For me, it took 3 years. For other people, take longer. For other people, takes less. So it's kind of a process that goes hand in hand with every member of the house, and you learn a little bit of them, and they learn from you what your talents are, and you sort of work together.
It's a lot of responsibility.
And I'll add, along the way, you learn what we call sistery. So basically the history of the house. And so it's actually through learning about other sisters and other events, not that we're necessarily able to duplicate those exactly, but we're able to see, okay, that event took place in the year like 1995. How can we make that event make sense in the year 2023 now, right? So we're really able to see this evolution of how the sister house has grown, become more diverse, had more diverse interests. And so that's been really nice to experience.
That's fantastic. I mean, it is a great responsibility that you are taking on. Helping people is, it's not to be taken lightly. It's not something, oh, I'll just volunteer for a little while, and when I get bored, I'll move on. This is commitment that you guys are doing.
Yeah, I think the average for a sister is about 10 years. There's there's people that do it for much longer, right? Like we have Sister Unity has been doing the same work for the last 27 years since the House of LA started. She was our first novice. So there's people that do it longer. There's people that do it for 2 years and they realize that this is not for them, or a year, or that don't finish the process. But I think kind of the average is 10 years of work. And then the wonderful thing about it is that I have a mission and I have a representation. Obviously, part of my name is being La Mexicanita, so I'm Mexican, and I really champion for immigration from all over the world and from people from Latinx descent, BIPOC. But if at any point I am not there, there is going to be someone else that is going to take that charge. Is still going to be needed. Is still going to be doing that work in another form. So what other people has done in the past allow us to continue doing that work because it opens the road for us to go in that direction. And when I am unable to do it, there will be someone else that is going to take that road. So the sisters are always different, but they're always the same. They're always doing the same work with different people and different members. And that's kind of part where we say, like, where one of us is, all of us are, because we're bringing that legacy and we're creating that opportunity. And at the same time, when Loose Clarita is not here, there's going to be another, maybe Dulce de Leche, or another sister that is going to be doing that work.
Mm-hmm.
I love the community you guys have built, and the work you're doing is magnificent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any particular charities or events that you guys want to share that you are working on right now, so people could perhaps donate or volunteer or get involved?
Yeah. So let's see. This coming weekend on the 15th, we are having a sister garage sale, and that's at the Queer Mercado at the East LA Convention Center. And it is with one of our newest Black veils, Sister Vida Vegana, who is really a champion for animal rights. And so we'll be raising funds for 2 different animal sanctuaries in the LA and surrounding Southern California areas. And so that's really important to her. It's really important to me. And so, that's an example, right, of us putting an event together, finding a place to do it, and just through sheer will, selling off all of our amazing items that we've managed to collect, in a garage sale form. But I think a lot of this month, Pride month of June, I know we're in July now, but a lot of just even our last 4 weeks, but I even say 5 weeks, right, because we have another Pride event this weekend as well. That has really taken a lot of our time, just really showing up for the LGBTQ community at these events. So as far as fundraisers go, we haven't had a whole lot of those just this last month, but we have been the recipient of some amazing donations, kind of like across the board. And because of the Dodgers event and sort of being in the news, a lot of people were reaching out to us and making us the grand marshals, for example, of their Pride parades, or giving us a speaking moment at the Las Memorias HIV AIDS wall event, and then bestowing upon us a donation, which of course makes us all really excited, because that means we're able to turn that money around and help other charities or nonprofits. Luce, is it South LA Pride that you're going to this weekend?
Yeah, on 7/15 is South LA Pride. Is a new Pride. I think this is their 3rd year. Mm-hmm. And it's really a very nice community event, because it's more like a picnic with a stage. And it is, because it's in the neighborhood surrounding Crenshaw, Baldwin Hills, there's a lot of Latinos and Latinx people. Many BIPOC people show up but it's really not a festival. It's kind of like you just come with your blanket and whatever you want to bring and put it on the ground, enjoy the stage, walk around, talk to people. Also, in August, as Electra said, we're going to be the Grand Marshal for Long Beach Pride. And one of the best ways to donate to us or to reach us is online. Our website is ladragnuns.org. And there is a button to donate. Every single dollar that we raise goes back into the community.
Oh.
So whether you want to do it online, if you see us walking around and you give us $1, that dollar is going to go back to the cash box that we have to sort it out and send it out there. And even if you are not in LA, you can find which sisters are in your city or the closest. For example, in California, we have San Diego. We have the LA house, which is kind of has the biggest territory because we have Orange County, Riverside, LA County, Long Beach. Then we also have Eureka. We have the Palm Springs house, and we have the San Francisco house. So we have 5 in the state.
Is Eureka the Russian River?
No, I think Russian River is still part of the San Francisco house.
Okay.
Eureka is the one that is Modesto.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
But it's true, there is a section of Russian River is not in the San Francisco, and then there's also a lot of sisters in Oakland that do work in Oakland, but they are all part of the San Francisco house. Sort of organized, like there are monthly meetings because we are a corporation, we are a real business that pays taxes, that puts the numbers down. So we have to have those meetings. So Russian River, the sisters from Oakland, they are all with the San Francisco house, even though that they do events outside of the city of San Francisco. But in any of your localities, we have houses in Canada, we have houses in Minnesota, Tennessee, Georgia, we have houses in Texas, in Florida. In almost every single state, you can find your local sisters and donate to them because they are the ones that are going to take that money and put it with the other local charities that are doing the work directly impactful for your community.
That's just a beautiful message of how circular it is. You guys are always helping everybody. And the inclusivity is so important. And the more we talk about this is so important because you all accept everyone. You all help everyone. You do not judge. You do not discriminate. If someone says, I'm hurting, I need help, I'm confused, I got kicked out of my home, you help.
Yeah,
it's
definitely. Yeah, I mean, I like to think of us as maybe like networks, that allow us to, the more that we know about our, I couldn't speak to support systems in, San Francisco or San Diego, right? But Luce and I could speak deeply to support systems in Los Angeles County, Riverside County, Orange County, those areas. And so, it's not as if somebody, that maybe would come to us with their problems, like we could actually in a, professional counselor way, work through that. But what we can do is we can listen, and we can also do our best to provide resources for them. And so that's actually been one of the things that I've learned from Luce over this last month is how to engage more at the city level, like the city governmental level, and, with different Congress people and different representatives, right, in order to see how they're able to provide support for, some of the very groups that we raise money for. An example I can think of just right off the bat is the Trans Latina Coalition. I mean, that was a new group, maybe 10 years ago when I became a sister. And so it was something that was on my radar to, make sure that we were sending some of our funds, to this group. And now they've received, I think, a $33 million bid from the county to allow them to purchase, a building and have their support systems available. So it's really allowed them to, you know what I mean, like realize themselves in a much more permanent way. And that's great to know, because now I know, okay, let's look for those, you know, little organizations again that we can help sort of bolster, right? That we can provide that network to. And, you know, I initially thought it was just individuals that we were dealing with, but now I see, right, it's even counties and other nonprofits. And that's something I've learned, you know, through a decade of this kind of service. But yeah, you're right. It is definitely helping all different kinds of people, not just LGBTQ people, right? And folks with any kinds of needs. And so, yeah, it is, it's diverse.
It is, and open to everyone. And I mean, obviously I love the work you're doing. That's why I requested for this interview, because I'm a huge fan. But please, folks out there, donate to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. You can find Sister Loose Clarita, you can find Sister Electra Complex, or any of the other sisters. The work they are doing is going to change the world to be a better place. And that is something we desperately need right now, is to be in a better place. And it starts here. It's as simple as that. I'm closing Sister Loose Clarita. I will let you have final words, followed by Sister Electra Complex.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And to anybody that wants to participate in any way, there is no limit to how you can change the things happening around you. Every single act can be a revolution, and just one can make a difference. So if you feel that you want to and you can, whatever that means, even just giving someone a smile and giving them a pleasant day, a blessing of a wonderful weekend or a wonderful week, that can change the world for that one person at that one moment. It's really, really easy. We all have the power to do it. We all can do it. And hopefully this can permeate through our society and we can bond together.
I love that.
And it definitely, if anybody's interested in doing the work of the sisterhood or becoming a sister, we are always looking for those folks. It's not like we have, we are all diverse, even in the LA house. It's not like we all have a certain criteria, or, like Lou said, we've taken certain classes and now we know. We're constantly learning as we go, and we definitely invite others on this journey with us.
I love that. Well, both of you, thank you so much. This has been magnificent, to overuse that word. I love everything that you stand for and everything that you do. Your work is important, and please feel free to come back anytime if you have updates or if you want to share more events.
Always that would be way fun. Thank you, Wendy, so much for having us.
Anytime. So everyone, I'm Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. So Sister Loose Clarita, Sister Electra Complex, thank you again. This has been a wonderful conversation. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.